Hello, welcome to TTNT, Topics That Need Talking. I'm your host, Jess. Today's episode is about choosing no more school or no school at all. When we all go to school, we always tend to get asked, either in middle school or high school, even as early as elementary, do you plan to go to college? Do you plan to get a higher education? Some people automatically know because they think it's glamorous from television shows or how their parents and older friends talk fondly of it, that it can seem like the best 4 years of your life. That yes, I'm going to college. Yes, I'm going to go and get a higher education. Others have the opposite experience, where it doesn't appeal to them. For what they want to do, college is not necessary. They can just go straight into it after they finish K through 12. That they don't need the higher education, though they are not opposed to it. Whenever we meet people that don't go to college, our perception of them changes. They just changed into, oh, you didn't go to college. Some people think less of these people because they don't think that they are as smart as them. A high school diploma versus a bachelor, master's, PhD level of education. When that is never the case. You don't always have to receive a higher education regarding whatever you hope to pursue in life. You can still be the smartest person in your field and outsmart the person that has a PhD in whatever field that they have. There's no harm in choosing no more school or no school at all. Some people finish after middle school. They go, I don't want to go to school. Nothing will benefit me if I choose to go to high school. I can just get started right now. Some people do it for their family because they need money right now. They have to go and get a job. They can't necessarily continue their education. Or they stop after high school saying, no, what I want to do, I need to actually have hands-on experience. Going to classes and putting myself in debt will not benefit me. I need to just go straight into it. So they already have their connections. They have networked. They have a way in. No one's way of doing it isn't correct. No one will always have the same way as doing it. That's the benefit of knowing so many different types of people. There's always a different way to get to the conclusion for yourself or for others. Choosing no more school is never a bad thing. I can remember very clearly my senior year in high school. I was talking to my friend, and during the senior year, we had 2 months before we graduated. We were in class, and I just could not focus. I was only excited to graduate at the end of the year. Looked at him and said, hey, what college are you going to? Where have you applied? Because at the time, I had already been accepted into my dream school. He looked at me and said, oh, I'm not going to college. Looked at him and said, oh, why is that? He goes, because what I want to do doesn't require me to get a bachelor's degree or even an associate's. I can just go straight into it. And I said, oh, okay, that's cool. But the people behind me were like, really? You're not going to college? When 95% of the class was going to college. The college of their choice. He was one of the very few that opted to not go to college. He just didn't see the need to go to college. And I never looked down on him for that. And I said, oh, that's awesome that you can just go straight into what you want to do. You don't have to get the higher education or put yourself in debt for it. I never looked down at him. He still knows more about it than I ever will in what he does, just like how I will know slightly more than what he knows in the field that I studied. We never looked down at each other. We would just assist each other in what we didn't know, that we could fill in the blanks for. Others would continue on to grad school or to go and get their PhD. And I choose not to go to grad school or to get my PhD. I don't want any more school. I feel satisfied with the bachelor's that I have. That what I want to do is just fine with what I've accomplished so far, that I can still get farther without having to go back to school. But that's just me, and that's my mindset at this time and place. It can always change. I could go back to school and get my master's in something else. But something like school, I can't say I'm not going to do it. I can only say at this moment, I'm not going back to school. I don't want to. But in the future, maybe 5 or 10 years down the line, I may choose to go and get my master's in whatever I want to pursue. I may go and get my PhD in whatever I want to do. Who knows? My mind can change. My situation around me can change. Anything can happen. I just look and I go, School isn't for everyone, and I love those that say, no, school isn't for me. College isn't for me. I just look at them saying, I am so thankful that you learned that about yourself versus going to the school because it seemed like the right thing to do or people are telling you to go. You just went for the sake of going to appease to others instead of yourself. There's nothing worse than putting yourself into a stressful situation that you didn't even want to be in to begin with. So those that always find out that they don't want to go to college before even getting onto the campus, congrats. That's awesome that you figured that out about yourself. There's no harm in that. And there's nothing wrong with while you're even at the college that you said, I wasn't ready for this and you chose to leave. That's great. That's self-care. That's realizing that you weren't ready. You had to take a step back before trying again if you choose to. There's no harm in that decision either. And for those that said, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going to get my master's. I'm going to keep going to go get my PhD. Congrats to you too. What you choose to do with your future is great. That's the best part about having a choice in the matter. And to force someone else to do what you think is best for them is horrible. It makes their life miserable. They feel on edge and pressure to make sure they don't let you down instead of themselves. Nobody likes to be put onto that type of pedestal to have to do what they don't want to do. It just makes it harder for them. It makes them upset. It makes them sad. It makes them miserable. It makes them want to quit, but they can't because they're doing it for you instead of for themselves. And school is a tricky slope. Nobody really knows when they go to school. Some people know straight from the start that they will go to school, go into this major, excel, and just be the best that they can be. Others need a little bit of time. They got to figure it out. They want to test the waters before they actually make a decision. Then some are just like, I don't need this. Like I stated in the beginning, I can just go ahead and do it. No one really knows what they are wanting to do in the moment until they are put in the moment, or that they look at it and go, that's not for me. And they choose to put themselves right there. It's hard. It's hard for everyone because we talk so highly of school. We talk so promising of the future that you can have if you go to college. We talk about, oh, the doors will open for you after you get your bachelor's. You will have so many opportunities. You'll beat the competition out of the water with your bachelor's. But a lot of people look and they go, but that's not for me. I don't want to do that. And then we have the nerve to talk down to them because they made a decision for their own life on how they want to go about their own plans. And for those that do, they should be ashamed. Nobody wants to be pressured. Nobody wants to be forced to do something. You want to do it on your own terms at your own time and by your own means. So when we talk so highly of something and not everyone agrees, we shouldn't look at them and say, well, what do you know? We should talk to them and actually see their point of view and then let them live how they want to live. It's their life, not yours. You can't control someone and their actions. You can only hope that the choices that they have made is what's best for them and it has a great outcome in the end. We can't always say that school is the best for people because it's not. We can't always force them to stay in school because it can be detrimental to them. Not all, but to some. We can only encourage them to pursue what they want to do. Either to choose no more school after high school or to choose no school at all. People still succeeded with just high school diplomas. They have gotten very far in life. We don't always talk about them because we want to appeal to the idea of going to college and getting that higher education. When we should also appeal to those that have just made it off pure hard work, educating themselves on the matter either at the time or they were doing research beforehand, and that they never gave up. They saw their dream and they made it happen. We don't talk enough about those people. We need to give them the limelight as well. We need to lionize them too. And to lionize, it means to treat people like a celebrity. Because to do what they had to do, they had to make great sacrifices. They had to make very difficult decisions. But it doesn't mean that it's less of them. School is just a tricky slope for a lot of people because some people are just scared to speak up about how they feel. because they know that they can be the outcast or in the minority of the group of how they feel towards education, instead of the majority that's equally seen as acceptable and welcomed. They won't speak about it, and we shouldn't make them feel that way. Whether intentionally or not, we shouldn't have them feeling that way. If they don't want to go to school, that's fine. It's a topic that he's talking about because a lot of people don't want to go to school. For example, no matter how small it may seem, to look at the generation that have become entrepreneurs as of late, a lot of YouTubers have. You have, just for this example, Jenna Marbles, who has her master's, and yet she does YouTube. Someone who went and received higher education is on YouTube. Others who have tried college but then dropped out are still successful and are YouTubers. Those who have started businesses based off what they knew and doing research alone on how to start the business and how to run it and how to make it succeed may only have high school diplomas or even GEDs, which is a substitute for a high school diploma. We can't say that people have failed in their life when in their eyes they see themselves as succeeding. Success can be defined in multiple ways, just like failure. But it doesn't mean that we all view it the same way, let alone see it as the only way. People are going to keep trying. People are always going to never quit. As long as we never put them down, that we can assist them in any way possible despite what level of education you have, we can always help out each other to reach each other's dreams. School or no school, we shouldn't put people down. We should only help each other get back up and keep trying. And that's choosing no more school or no school at all. You've been listening to TTNT, Topic City Talking with Jess. Next week's episode will be about trying to live but conserve. If you want to reach out to me, I have a Twitter if you want to create a discussion over there and just speak to me and see my thoughts on any other topic that you think needs talking, or you just want to talk about what was discussed in this episode. You can comment below and I'll see and respond to it, or like your comment to at least indicate that I read it. My Twitter handle is in the description below. Have a good day, you guys. Be happy. Stay safe.